Hey everyone, thanks so much for joining me tonight. So I'm really excited. For the last couple weeks I've been working on this course that I think is going to really help you out if you're trying to build a walk-in shower, specifically a custom tiled walk-in shower. So if you're new to the channel, you probably might have seen some of these videos in prior videos that I've have on YouTube now. But this is going to be a lot more detailed and a lot more informative and hopefully really helpful to you, because I really spent a lot of time breaking this down into a course forum that step by step on how to do a tiled walk-in shower. But before, as you get in here, please give me a like on this video. It really helps out the algorithm, sends more things out. And I'm sure you're all subscribed if if you're finding me here tonight, but please subscribe. I'm always trying to do these live streams. And our big thing here tonight is getting into this new course. And I want to highlight a bunch of different things before we even get into it about, basically my opinions on different types of shower systems. So there's going to be a real, hopefully a good conversation here. And really one of the thing about these live streams, I'm really hoping that if you have any questions about your own bathroom, you can leave them in the chat. And then, I can pause and we can go through them. I might be able to bring some stuff up online as well. So I'm going to shrink myself down here, but again, give me a like on this video. Really helps out that algorithm. And I want to thank all the new subscribers of this channel. It's been absolutely tremendous. And, it's great to see all this Discord going on in the chat. And I just think that this platform can really help out a lot of people, not just DIYers, but tradesmen alike. Because, if you don't know me, my name is Steve. I've been a contractor in the Pittsburgh area for over 20 years now. So, I've really been doing bathrooms for the last 14, and I've honed down a certain pattern about going about this. And that's why I created this channel, to share that and then also learn from you as well. So other tradesmen, HVAC guys, plumbers, electricians, whatever your specialties, drywall. I'm always trying to learn from you guys as well, and that's one of the great things about these new platforms. So SSVY, thanks for stopping in here. Thanks, babe, for letting me know. I'm going to shrink myself down here. So again, this is going to be about a tiled shower, and this is part one. So you'll be able to find all of these videos on YouTube, and I'm going to be going right into the course that's actually going to show you what the course is, and I'm going to play all those videos as well. So I'm not sure how many parts this whole system will be. It might be a 5-part series. I'm not sure, but I wanted to make sure that everyone had access to this, whether they buy into the course or not. But you'll see when I get into the course why you might want to, just purchase it. And there's a lot of things in it that are going to help you out. So let's go. Let me just show you real quick what this course is. You can go to either my website or bathroomremodeling.teachable.com. I put a link in the live chat here as well for you to go to, and I'll also leave it in the description as well. But basically, this is my I'm basically building these courses on teachable.com, which is really user friendly. On your iPhone, iPad, computer, whatnot. It's just a great way to put all of this together. And really, inside the course, I'm really just providing a lot of reminders, a lot of planning ahead factors within it, checklists, and just making sure that you're prepared for demo day. That's one of the big things I'm all about, is that you need to have a lot of the core items on hand before you get started into a bathroom remodel, because if it is just like maybe one of your only bathrooms in the house, you can drag this process out very long by going to Home Depot or Lowe's every single day and trying to grab the materials. So I'm real big about planning, and you'll see I'm demonstrating all these videos in real time. This bathroom took me about 9 days to complete from start to finish. So walk-in showers usually do take more time than a traditional, with a bathtub type of scenario, and that really just comes down to different timing issues. Usually, when you're building a custom shower, there's some more plumbing involved to be able to move things. But right now, I have 3 courses available. I have the tub and shower remodel in 7 days, so it basically outlines everything in 7 days of how to remodel a bathroom. And this is custom tiled, keep in mind. This is like gutting everything down to the studs and starting from new. But all 3 of my courses right now kind of sync together in a way, because the tub and shower one is probably the most sophisticated one, because it really steps you day by day of what you should accomplish and how to go about it. And it includes the drywall hanging. It includes insulation, it includes the wiring, it includes moving plumbing, it includes like everything that it would take to build a custom bathroom. But then the tiled walk-in shower course, which I'm going to show you now, it's basically just specifically the shower. So demoing the old shower that was existing, expanding it a little bit, installing the waterproofing, doing the framing. I should say, I should do it in order. We're doing the framing. Let me just show you here on the course here. So I'm going to go in here as a student. So if you purchase these, this is you'll find all the locations within your the courses that you have purchased in your folder, and you can just go right into the actual course. But really what it is you're basically we're going to go through framing, so first off doing the demo of the actual shower, and then we're getting into framing. There's a lot of great tips I have in here. Framing you should not overlook. It's really important to have all the blocking for your shower faucets in the right locations. It's important to make sure that you have blocking for grab bars if you're planning to do that in the future. And then I have a lot of other tips, like if you're going to do a handheld sprayer, you need to make sure that that's in the right location so you don't have a problem connecting that hand sprayer. And then if you're doing shower doors, you want to make sure you have blocking for that. So I have a lot of great details in there. And this shower is a curbed shower. So there's some additional things you have to pay attention to when you're framing and making sure that you have enough room for that curb. But we'll get into that as well. But it's really, it's a detailed spec on all of this stuff. But we go into moving the shower drain. I know that's a real question mark. It is a real question mark when you get into the demo of your bathroom. It's really tough to tell exactly where your shower drain needs to move, and every situation is a little bit different. So I give you some basic strategies and some things that are important when you're moving a shower drain. One of them being, a 2-inch drain. Almost all shower pans code requirements require 2-inch drains. So get into that as well. The shower faucet and handheld that will be in this course is going to be a Delta system. It's going to have a separate diverter that will switch from your handheld to your shower head. So this is, a really detailed installation, and I basically highlight the ones that I prefer, or the method I prefer, which is using PEX and attaching that, and then just giving you a lot of tips on depth gauging and how to go about it. So, this is really DIY friendly, I feel. I know a lot of you probably have gotten some quotes for contractors, and it just is probably way over some people's heads on how much this is all going to cost. Now, I'm not going to lie, even the core materials of a shower like this is going to cost some money. So doing a custom tiled shower is definitely always going to cost a lot more than a fiberglass unit, or even just a standard shower base that is not tiled. That the expense of the tile is expensive, the waterproofing is expensive, but there's a lot of important details. So I get into the waterproofing, and I think the Weedy system, I really feel over the years of doing all types of different systems, that Weedy is really probably one of the most DIY friendly types of shower systems. The sealant application of it just kind of makes it foolproof. It's easy to cut down and custom fit to your own shower area. And the other part of it is that it's waterproof all the way through the pan. So when you're installing that pan, if you drop something, if you drop a screwdriver or you drop a piece of tile, as long as it doesn't puncture all the way through the pan, you're in good shape. If you have other contractors working around you, it's always a concern with a lot of these different systems, as far as people dropping things when you don't have everything tiled. Like if you did a Schluter system and you puncture the membrane, it's not waterproof anymore. You have to address those issues. So I do like Weedy a lot for that reason. It's not a cheap system, but neither is a lot of these other waterproofing systems. We're going to get into that as well today, about the different systems and my recommendations on that. If you're a contractor, I'd love to hear more of your feedback and your experience with these different systems. We get into tiling. So tiling should be the fun part of a project. I am a certified tile installer. I took the test a few years ago, and it was, it's not an easy thing. It takes experience to be able to pass these tests, but it just gives you the core recommendations that the TCNA has outlined. The Tile Council of North America basically has an association that gives you recommendations on how to install tile. So all of this education is basically what I'm passing on to you within this. There's a lot of great systems that are coming out. Really, I never had any of these systems when I first started out. So having a leveling system really makes it tile installation much easier. Using horseshoe shims, spacers for the tile spacing makes things a lot easier. And then the thin sets that have come a long way since I've started. I mean, I started in year 2000. Doesn't sound like a long time ago, but it is now. That's 22 years ago. But the new thin sets that are coming out, they last a lot longer. One of my favorites is Ardex. You can mix that and it's going to last 3-4 hours in the bucket. I think that's really important for a new tile installer because you're going to need some time to make those adjustment cuts and get things into place. And then, like I said, this is a tiled curb shower. So I'm going to go over probably one of the easiest and fastest ways to tile a curb, and that's using a solid surface curb top. But there's a lot of features within the Weedy that makes this nice as well, because when you do a glass enclosure, you always want to pay attention to whether you're going to be having to put an anchor into the curb. Weedy is great for that because it's waterproof all the way through. But yeah, the tiled curbs, a tiled walk-in shower with a curb is definitely going to be a cheaper option than going curbless unless you can modify the framing. But, honestly, a walk-in shower that's curbless is pretty much always going to be a lot more labor than a tiled curb. So that's why there's, the curbs are still very popular. And a lot of some circumstances you just can't do a curbless shower in an existing home because of engineered joists or some other area, problems with it. So I figure I'd start out with the tiled curb. I'm going to have a new course coming out probably in a couple of months on a curbless shower because I know that's really popular. Really, people are desiring these now, especially for the elderly getting in and out of the showers. But this is just a 4-inch curb, so it's really not too terrible for that. I get into just a simple glass shelving installation. A lot of those recessed niches that you see are beautiful, built into the wall. They take a lot more time to install. It definitely increases the cost of actually doing it. But in this course, I do go into some niche installations. I'm probably going to come up with a course here eventually, though. It's just going to be like the ultimate niche course, which is going to have a whole bunch of different types of niches and how you go about tiling them and waterproofing them. But for this shower, it's just a basic glass shelving. So it's going to be, a real simple installation, something you can get done fairly quickly. Go into grouting. This shower, I did 2 tones. So if you're deciding that you want to have 2 tones, like having a border, like in this instance, we went with a beige grout for the border, and then we went or the beige for the border and the shower floor, and then we wanted everything else to be white. So I go into a lot of information on 2 different types of grouts that I'm pretty much really only recommending these days. I mean, there's a lot of great grouts out there, but Laddercrete makes some of the best stuff out there. I'm not sponsored. I'm going to keep this in mind too. I'm almost going to say that I'm never going to be sponsored by anybody. I really have no interest in being a shill for any of these companies. I'm just using the stuff that I find to work really well, and then and then recommend that. So in this instance, I really like the Spectralock 1 grout. It's a pre-mix grout. I'm using that for the beige, and then I'm using the traditional Spectralock Pro epoxy for the white. I'm still really sensitive about that white color, and I feel that epoxy is going to be the strongest type of grout and most stain resistant. So I get in a lot of information into that. And then frameless doors. Really no custom shower system is done without some nice custom shower doors. So I get into one of the kits that I was really impressed with, really happy with, the Aston shower glass doors. It gave me a lot of flexibility with the type of system I've installed. A lot of these online door kits, if you get the 3/8-inch glass, thick glass, they're kind of all the same. So and then as you can see here, the curriculum is basically outlined from the demo process: plumbing, waterproofing, tiling, grouting, the shower faucet trim. It's important to make sure that it's not scalding for your client, and then the glass enclosure. But ultimately, all 3 of these shower systems kind of go all together, because in the tub and shower system, you basically it's outlined day by day. So if you're trying to be organized and getting a bathroom done in a short period of time, like a 7 or 8 day period, this correlates really well with the walk-in shower, because I have not just about installing a tub. I mean, if you're not installing a tub, that's fine, but I also have all the drywall hanging. I have a lot of it, I have a different type of waterproofing system that you could incorporate into the walk-in shower. But it's really, this is how I go into the bathroom floor installation in this one as well. So I really kind of feel both of these courses are kind of correlated pretty well, because you're going to get a lot more information about the drywall hanging, the finishing, the accessories, installing a toilet. You're going to get all those different things in here, whereas the custom tiled shower is just going to be the tiled shower. And then if you're doing a shower that needs custom glass, that's where this one would come in as well, because this goes into how to measure, order, and install your own custom glass. If you're needing custom glass because you have a bench or something, you know how ridiculously expensive it costs for somebody to come out and put that in for you. Not only does the glass itself cost a fortune, it's just there's a lot of liability for the contractors installing it. So it's not surprising to hear glass enclosures costing $2,000-$3,000 to have installed. That's why I made this custom glass course, because if you can order it and install it yourself, you're talking about saving half that amount of time. So Modern Homestead, thanks for always joining me. I always appreciate you being in here and commenting. So you're doing an ADA shower, curbless shower for a hotel. Okay. So I'd be interested to hear what kind of system you're doing for that. Are you able to modify the floor? I mean, one thing about ADA curbless, I am a little, the towel coach the other day had a thing that I thought was very interesting, just explaining, the durability of different pans. And, obviously these foam pans are not very, when you're walking on them, even, you can like kind of dent them in. And he did this little demonstration the other day that kind of showed how strong it is after tile. But if you were to do a commercial shower, I would probably want to go with I wouldn't want to go with a foam base. I think I would want to go with the Vim shower system, or trying to recess that floor so that you can do a mud bed type of system. Love to hear how you're doing that, because I know that commercial showers take a lot of beating. So let's get into first off, let's go back. I hope I'm logged in here. I didn't even pay attention if I was logged in here. So let me see if I can get. Yeah, okay, all right, I'm logged in. I wasn't sure if I was even logged into my own course. But let's get a little bit of motivation here and show you, what a shower would typically cost. So this is an estimate that I gave out middle of June, and so prices, as you know, are going up everywhere all the time, and it's getting a little alarming. So you might as well just add another 10% to this bid. But I gave this bid in June 6th of 2021. So this is a master bathroom, is just a standard kind of master bathroom you'd find in a split entry home, 4 foot wide by 8 foot long. It might have been 7'6". Those are pretty common too. But it's basically a 3x4 shower area. In this instance, I had a little bump out, and I was, we'll get into that. We'll show you in the course what this looked like. But, I was concerned, I wanted to expand the shower as much as I could, because the existing shower was only 32 inches wide, which is really cramped for your elbow room. So I wanted to expand it. And I wasn't sure what I could do. I wasn't sure exactly what was in this bump out. And I found out that it's basically vent pipes for the toilet, and there was a bathroom on the other side. So there's a whole bunch of different plumbing and wiring within that. But I was at least able to expand the shower out to about 40 inches, getting me about another 8 inches of width in a shower, which, boy, that really makes a huge difference. When you're talking about a 32-inch wide shower, if you're 6 foot tall and you bend over, you're hitting your head off the wall. It's pretty cramped. So anyways, there was a lot of question marks in this bid that I wasn't 100% sure, but I kind of gave the client an estimate based off of, I really do find it important. If you're doing quotes for people, you really need to really highlight this very well and make sure that you're not promising more than what you had in the quote, making sure you're outlining everything step by step on what you're going to do. And these days I almost think it's really important to put a little highlights in about what you might be able to do, what you might not be able to do, and then make sure that you address that. Hey, it might cost you a little bit more if I have to move this vent stack, or if I see some bad plumbing. You're going to have to prepare that client to expect that there's going to be extra costs. Most of the jobs that I do, when I give out a quote, I try to incorporate everything that I have into it. But I would say most of the time it usually increases by 10%, just based off of unexpected items. And that could be just, hey, I tore out all the drywall. It looks like I have nasty installation. It's kind of a little bit moldy. I think you should get some new insulation. Insulation is not cheap. That could be $200-300 right there. So things can add up really quickly doing a bathroom remodel, and you really should prepare your clients for additional expenses. I always tell everybody 10-15% more above my quote is not going to be unheard of. So when you're referencing other contractors, I want to make sure that you're really basically judging things for what they are. Make sure that because I like to be detailed. That's usually what wins my jobs too, because I'm really outlining things specifically and there's no real gray area in it. Anyways, we're basically doing I have it separated for demo, usually roughly around $1,000 for this type of demo job. You'll see why that is. This is really was kind of an easy demo because it's a newer home. It was not newer, but 1970s home, so it was all new drywall. A lot of times they always put the tile directly over drywall, which makes it easier to pull out. So there was a lot of things I knew the demo job was going to be pretty easy. It had a fiberglass shower pan. That's usually pretty easy to come out. The tile floor, most of the time back in those days, they would just put hardy backer down, or maybe they even just tiled directly over the linoleum. And underneath the linoleum, there's usually always some kind of 1/4-inch lawn or some kind of backing. So demo on a 1970s home is usually pretty easy. So I roughly stick to about $1,000 for that. Now, I did quote her for a Schluter system and then decided to go with the Weedy system. Schluter would probably be a little bit cheaper in this scenario. Basically because their systems are a little less expensive overall. But really, you're not talking about an incredible difference. Usually a Schluter system for a 3x4 system might be around $800 when you get all the components together. And the Weedy system was around $1,100. That's contractor's pricing, so take that with a grain of salt. And then I included installing this Delta multi-shower system. So waterproofing, purchasing everything, for this waterproof system, and including the Delta shower system was around $3,200. That pretty much profits me about $2,000 for that installation of all of that, because really, like I said, it's about $800 for it was Schluter, but I went with Weedy, so it was like around $1,100 plus the shower faucet, which was around $600. So it really wasn't too bad on that, and it just usually takes about 2 days worth of work to do the waterproofing and the shower installation. Vent fans, I'm always like a stickler about vent fans. I think it's really important you get a new vent fan in your bathroom. I love these Panasonic vent fans. They are really always been dependable for me. 110 CFM is great for most size bathrooms. And I get into that installation a little bit in this course as well. I go into a lot more detail into the tub and shower course on that, but you can also find all this stuff on YouTube as well on my channel. Drywall painting, around $1,500. Really doesn't cost you much more than $400 worth of materials to do that. So roughly $1,000 for drywall, finishing, painting. Depending on your skill set, it really isn't that much labor. Each coat maybe takes an hour in a bathroom this size. So you're talking roughly 10 hours worth of work, maybe at the most. So you're talking about $100 an hour. The tiled shower, this is where I kind of pad things because you really don't know what kind of design you're going to be getting into. I always try to highlight at least a reference of what I'm doing so that you know that there's just one border. There's going to be a recessed niche. You might have a corner bench, but I want to make sure that they match what they're doing. I'm not going to do a herringbone style, and I'm not going to do penny tile all the way through. for this same price. And I'm not going to do stone or marble for this price either. If you do stone or marble, it's going to cost you more. You know, marble and stone, you have to do everything on a wet saw. So that's a lot more trips going up and out of, outside the house, unless you get one of those new, you know, what do you call it? The new table, you know, the new towel saws that are wetless, you know. So it just takes a lot more time to do stone, and that, you know, you have to seal that stuff too. So there's definitely a lot more involved with a marble shower versus doing a porcelain tile. So roughly $3,000 with the tile. You know, normally I don't really give allowances for things, but in this bathroom I kind of wanted to control everything so that I had a real idea of what everything costs, so that when I'm creating this course I would have a good outline. I'm going to go through here and really kind of hone down the numbers too, so that I can provide you exactly what it cost me, even though that everything seems to be going up every other day here. So, you know, roughly $2,200 to tile a 3x4 shower. And that includes the thin set. So I guess really it's really, you're basically making $2,000 for the labor on that end point. That usually only, you know, a shower like this with just a glass shelving, not doing the niche, you know, that probably take 2 days to do ultimately. Then the ceramic tile floor, this is just going to be, I always kind of just highlight what I'm doing here, 12x24s. But in a bathroom that's like 30 square feet, I'm pretty lenient on the pattern. You know, as long as you're not making me do some kind of outline of some sort, you know, 30 square feet, no matter what I do, is going to be pretty quick. So around $800 for that, $200 for the tile and material. So you're looking about $600 for that day of doing that tile floor. Miscellaneous is what I consider as far as putting in that vanity. You know, the mirror, if you're doing a recessed mirror, and the toilet. So I included all those materials in this one as well. This is definitely going to cost you more these days, but I think it roughly had about $800 into the materials. So all this stuff took like a day to install, not too bad. And then I include the shower enclosure as well. You know, these shower enclosure kits are usually for a 3x, you know, like a 4-foot wide shower, roughly around $800. Obviously those prices are going up too as well. So, but you know, doing that glass enclosure, you make $600 for a couple hours of work doing that. So this is the motivation point of this. Now, again, you got to keep this in mind depending on where you live. This is Pittsburgh prices, but you know, this shower roughly, or this bathroom roughly cost $14,000 or $15,000. I think it roughly was 15 by the time I was done with a couple of the extras and stuff. And the materials, you know, like I said, I'm going to get into this and dive down and get those numbers for you. But I think it was roughly around $6,000 worth of material. So you're talking about $8,000 worth of labor. So that's your motivation right there, $8,000 to save. So if you don't have all of the towel tools and everything, you still have a lot of room to make up for you know, what this would cost to do. So yeah, so that really kind of gives you a breakdown of what a contractor might cost for something like this. Gives you a little bit of motivation. But honestly, I hear these days maybe the motivation isn't necessarily the money. Maybe it's that you just can't find anybody to do it. So that's a real problem right there, and I know how that is. It's I don't know what's going on. You know, hopefully we get some younger people into this thing. But so yeah, modern homestead. You're asking me what kind of floor plan. So floor plans, I use Chief Architect. They do have some less expensive versions. What I bought the Pro, which allows me to basically you know, custom design an entire house. So that's it's pretty sophisticated. It took me a long time to figure that one out, but they do have some other models that are cheaper that just kind of do floor plans. But Chief Architect is definitely awesome. They're an awesome company. They have a lot of, you know, they're really I think they're still really up to date with, you know, incorporating all of their different things, you know, because a lot of times Delta, Kohler, you know, all these different even tiling manufacturers, they kind of have their own little plug-in that they would, you know, you can add the features in and stuff. So they're kind of versatile. It's kind of like an app thing. I haven't really gotten too much into the design of like actually showing what the bathroom looks like, you know, once it's finished, but I primarily just do floor plans just to kind of give a reference of, you know, what I'm doing, especially when I'm changing a layout of some sort. Like this bathroom probably really didn't need a floor plan because you know, I'm basically just changing the shower 8 inches, but yeah. So, hey Bob, good to see you here. Flying weather on the horizontal. Yeah, it is flying weather right now, isn't it? So, um, XRP boss, good to see you here. Thanks so much. Yeah, yeah, XRP, they do cost a little bit for the actual courses, but I do have the guide as well. So look in that live chat at the top. I have the guide that we're going to go through right now. So, but first, let's go through the intro of this, and then we'll get into the guide. Because in the course you'll be able to download this, but in the I'm just giving this out as free as well because I think it's important to let everybody know how these guides or different shower systems are out there. So let me shrink myself and then make sure my volume is up on here. All right, so we'll just go through the first part of this course. And this is just like an intro. You might have already watched the trailer on this. But this is just to give you a taste of how the course goes through. All right, well, welcome to my course. Thanks so much for purchasing this course. I hope that through the next series of videos within this course that you're going to feel much more confident about accomplishing your own bathroom. I'm sure some of you have probably already gotten some quotes for bathrooms from contractors and we're just kind of like, whoa, I can't afford that. And that's why I created this course, because a lot of this stuff, if you have a little bit of a mechanical ability, I really feel that you're going to have no problem remodeling your own bathroom. It's just a matter of you knowing what to, basically taking the fear out of the process, uncovering things. And then once we get everything formalized, there are going to be a lot of core materials that you can plan ahead of time to make this efficient. And that's what I'm going to have in my outlines. My outlines are going to show you basically a big material list of basic things that you should get. Now, you're not going to know everything until you've got everything, but if you can minimize the amount of trips that you're making the stores back and forth and you have a game plan ahead of you, you'll be able to make your goal by finishing this in a timely manner. Okay, so yeah, there you go. I mean, I have just like a little intro about what's going on here. And again, I'm a real big, I haven't always been, but I'm definitely these days. Planning ahead makes everything more efficient. And the reason I'm almost putting this down here as well, putting these courses together, it really helps keep myself organized. Over the years, like I said, I've been doing bathroom modeling, the primarily bathroom modeling for 14 years. And it's always been this custom tiled type of showers. And 14 years ago, you didn't have the resources that we have now to be able to learn how to do all this stuff. You basically had the Home Depot guy to talk to. I mean, these organizations were out there, but I just didn't know anything about them. So it really, after being in the industry for a while, I started to learn that the, like the NTCA, National Tile Contractors Association, great resource. I mean, if you guys are a contractor and you can get into the NTCA, the membership program, you're going to learn a lot from them. They're going to always give you, let me just look that up. So NTCA, National Tile Contractors Association. I always get these screwed up. But these guys, become a member of this if you are a contractor getting into this tile industry. For one thing, you join this, and you'll be able to they'll give you enough vouchers for all these different type of products that are going to be 3 times as what you pay to get into the thing. But they send out there's all types of resources within this that keep you up to date on basically everything in the tile industry. They even have courses in here as well, which I highly recommend as well. Even though I'm selling my own courses, I'm not really necessarily in competition with them. I want to be kind of helping them as well, getting people to them, because they really are a terrific educational system for tile contractors. They send out a tile letter magazine every month, and it goes over a whole bunch of different things. They have they'll give you the TCNA handbook that you can go through, which is all the recommendations on how to install tile, thin set, different ways of going about waterproofing system. So really tremendous organization. So I really recommend that. And you won't even be losing any money. If you're a contractor, you're going to get enough basically membership things out of this that it's going to make it almost stupid not to buy. I think relatively right now you'll get like $1,000 worth of vouchers for Schluter products, to getting Mapei thin sets, to whatever. I mean, obviously it's sponsors and different big leading manufacturers that are giving out this stuff, but you can't go wrong. If you're going to use these materials, this is the way to go. So anyways, so in each part of my course, I basically have a little bit of an outline that goes through things. Now, this was obviously just the introduction. I have my email in here. If you want to email me, you can email me directly. And really, this is really going to be where I'm going to be spending my time in the future on answering questions. It's not always going to be here on YouTube, and certainly not on the rest of the social media. It's going to be in these areas because this is the platform I'm really have control of, and I'm trying to really promote and hopefully bring an income that can be justified. But I have a PDF here that I think you're really going to enjoy, and give you some kind of comparisons between a bunch of different products. I don't know how long it's going to take me to get through this, so we might not even get too far into this actual course once we discuss this, but you can download this. This is for free, so in the link of this description of this video, there's a link to this. I put it in the live chat at the top as well, so download this, read it over on your own time as well. But let's get through this. Let's rather than looking on this thing, I'm going to bring it up because I pulled it up on a different. Oh, that's my other thing here. Here we go. Okay, so and I'm going to update this as well too. And if you other contractors have suggestions, I'd love to hear them as well, and I'll add them into here. But really, what this is about is choosing a curb shower system, because there's so many different systems out there. Like, what's the best way to go? Obviously you got cost, you got time. Time is always a big thing. If you're doing it yourself, you can usually, especially if it's your own home or if it's like your second bathroom or something, time maybe not be the biggest factor for you doing this. But if you're a contractor, time is always money. So, and you'll find that most of these systems, if it saves you a lot of time, they're going to cost more. So the weedy system, like I used in this shower, or in the shower, well, I did it in this one too, actually. This is a shower I did probably 7 years ago. But this was a weedy shower system as well. But weedy, I just fell in love with because it was just so fast. And as a contractor, the more jobs I can get, the more images I can get like this, the faster my business is going to grow. So the weedy system is really fast. Schluter is also great too. They've really come a long way, especially with the way they install some of their stuff. Their shower pans now have the waterproofing incorporated into it, which that speeds things up as well. So, but anyways, we're going to go through some of the overview of this, but really, this is going to be an overview of showers that are basically 5 foot wide. So the course that I have is a 4 foot wide shower, but I wanted to provide a guide that would be more for like, hey, if I'm going to take my tub out and I want to put in a walk-in shower, what are my options and what's the best ways to go about it, and what's the pros and cons of each, So again, planning ahead is really important. These are basically going to be going over 30-inch showers up to 38 inches deep to 60-inch wide showers. So everything in here is kind of highlighting, taking out a tub, putting in a walk-in shower. And most of those bathrooms are going to be 5 foot wide, obviously, and up to 9 foot long. So a lot of the pricing I have in here is kind of associated, or the guides, or the, what do you want to call it? The diagrams that I have in here are basically for that type of system. You can always go to my website. I'm really building this out lately, adding a lot more information. I have a blog on there and highlighting a lot of the different videos that I'm putting out, and then you can also find these guides and a lot of different checklists there as well. So bathroomremodelingteacher.com. I have a lot of great big plans to continue to build that out. And again, I am not sponsored by anything in any of this stuff, and I probably am going to stay that way because I just don't think it's worth it. I see a lot of, and I know when I watch a YouTube if you want to call them an influencer or a YouTube channel that starts promoting or having paid sponsorships, kind of click it off. I don't even want to hear it. I really would rather have the real opinion of what's going on. And at the end of the day, most of those sponsors don't even pay anything anyway, so it's really not even worth my time. Anyways, so 3 common size bathrooms that, I feel, or size layouts, I should say, different layouts. These are, when you're talking about a 5x8 bathroom, there's only so many configurations that kind of make sense. And if they're not within this one, they probably really aren't functionally, done well. So there's definitely different scenarios than this, But if they're outside of this, they're probably pretty strange to a certain extent. So, but 5x8, 32-inch tub, 30-inch tub, pretty common. Toilet, vanity. So you're normally, most 5x8 bathrooms, you're not getting wider than a 36-inch with a bathtub, I should say. You're probably not getting a wider than a 36-inch vanity. Sometimes you can, but we're going to get into some of the requirements by plumbing code, and then ADA, the ADA standards, which Modern Homestead, if you're on here, please chime in on that. I'm trying to learn more about that as well. But from what I've gained over the years, I'm going to highlight some of those ideas. But one common problem a lot of people have is the centering of their toilet between their vanity and their tub here. So code is really requiring 15 inches in most places, but I do see a lot of bathrooms that I'm in that are basically 12 inches away from the tub. And if you're building a walk-in shower with a curb, you end up even growing that area, and then it even gets worse. So pay attention if you're gonna convert a tub to a walk-in shower. Pay attention to where your toilet is and see whether you're going to have to modify that, or at least expect that you might have to modify and move that over in order to get a decent sized shower. Because if you build a walk-in shower with a curb that's if you only had 30 inches of depth, you're talking about only like 27, 26 inches within that shower, and that's going to feel pretty cramped. Once you get below that 30 inches inside a depth of a shower, it starts to feel really cramped and you don't have a lot of room. So keep that in mind if you're converting a tub to a shower. So this scenario, basically it's basically mostly the door swing that changes the way you get in here. But basically walking in, you have your vanity, toilet, and your tub on the back wall. I'd say this is probably one of the most common scenarios right here. Now, you can flip-flop the shower faucet on the other side, and it's going to be pretty much the same. Here's another one with the door coming in from the adjacent wall. So straight ahead would be your vanity, toilet, and tub. Again, the shower faucet could be flip-flopped on either side, but this is a pretty common scenario. And then the third one would be coming into the middle and then having your tub on the left or right, depending on which way it is, toilet, vanity. So this is usually commonly, because you're only on the 5-foot area, you're probably only getting like a 24-inch to a 30-inch vanity, because you need that 15 inches for that toilet centering. I actually like this layout a lot. I think it makes a lot of sense. I don't really necessarily like having the swinging door. A lot of times I'll put a pocket door that will slide here and then keep that all open. I don't know. I always liked this layout if I was able to choose. But these other ones are great. I mean, these are, this is pretty common. I see a lot of these like this. But, I don't really, in a 5-foot bathroom, I personally don't like swinging doors, because what do you do with this space? It's kind of, there's nothing you can do with it really. You can put an accessory here, maybe a towel bar, but you're always going to hit the door with the towel bar. And then over here on this one, same thing. You have this 30 inches of space, or at least 30 inches of space that's completely ruined and you can't do much with. So I don't really like swinging doors. And the other consideration you should think about, and somebody mentioned this in one of my chats somewhere, talking about elderly accessibility. So maybe this wouldn't meet ADA requirements in this bathroom the way it's laid out. First you need a 36-inch door, I believe. But one consideration is that if an elderly person was here at the vanity and they have the door closed and they fall, you're not going to be able to swing the door open to help them out. So I do see a lot of people swinging their doors outside in case that ever happens. So keep that in mind. If you're doing a bathroom for your parents or the elderly person, that these swinging doors can be problematic and could be dangerous in a way. So. But I did, like I said, I always liked this kind of layout. I thought this made a lot of sense. And then you can always have additional, additional cabinet here, freestanding cabinet of some sort, so you can get extra storage. Whereas here, you could do one here, but it's kind of blocking your space into the shower. Most of the time, you're going to have either a slider door or you're going to have a swinging shower door. So this is problematic to put anything there, because it's going to just kind of cramp your style getting in there. Whereas this one, you do have the room. You do have the ability here. And especially if you change this door into a pocket door, that makes a lot of sense to me. Let me see if I have anybody else here in the chat. Okay, so you're saying under 32 inches can be okay. All right, that's good to know. Thank you. 88 towards, yes, I knew the 18 inches needed to be on the center line as well. It makes a lot of sense. And yes, you're installing only a tub. And I have that tub and shower course as well. You could definitely check that out. Like I said, these kind of complement each other between the tub and shower course and the walk-in shower, just because of all the information on here. But this is basically the NKBA, National Kitchen and Bath Association. So when you're in that guide, you could click here and go to their website. They're going to have a whole bunch of information on here. But this is basically the recommendations they've kind of come up with that I know of. And you know, Modern, please speak up if I'm out of line on this one. But basically, spacing from the toilet to a fixture, they roughly want 18 inches. Gives you a lot more elbow room, capability of having any type of device that will help someone get on that toilet. So 18 inches versus 15 inches, which would be most plumbing, international plumbing code. And then you want to have this clear space, this 21 inches of clear space. This is the thing I don't know 100% sure. Does the swinging door interfere with this? Meaning that you couldn't have a swinging door in this fashion? That might be something I have to look into to double check. But that's, again, this is a consideration that you should have. If it's going to be an ADA bathroom, you know, the swinging door is probably not a good idea. You're probably going to want to make it a pocket door or swing the door out, one or the other. And then from what I understand, you need 30 inches of clear space in front of the toilet. So most toilets jet out about 26 inches away from the back wall, depending on the model that you get. So many elongated could actually be longer than that. So with a 5-foot wide room, you're going to have 30 inches there. But then for your shower, you're going to need 24 inches of clear space in front of that. So typically you're going to have a 30-inch door opening, especially if you go with a slider door. I would probably recommend a sliding shower door for the elderly in a lot of ways. Now, I don't know if that would meet ADA requirements as well. I have to look into that as well. But I just feel like the slider door is safer because, again, if they fell in the shower and you can't open up that door, like that's, you know, a lot of these shower doors, they kind of dictate which way you can open and close it. So if you can only open it into the shower, that could be dangerous. If they fell in the back wall, you're not gonna be able to, you're going to have to wedge them out of the way to get in there. Whereas most of the time, I always have the shower doors so they can swing both ways. So, sorry I didn't have that outlined up there enough. So, but yeah, so this is basically kind of a game plan of kind of what you're trying to achieve and pay attention to if you're restructuring your bathroom at any point. But again, keep an eye out for if you're converting a tub to a shower, making sure that you at least have 15 inches. Not this, now this is for ADA requirements. But I do see a lot of toilets that are 12 inches away from the tub, and that's not going to work too great with a shower. So choosing a curb shower, you know, this type of system. Now, the old traditional way was always to do a mud bed with a rubber liner. And I'm going to get into why I don't like that anymore, and I don't really see any reason why anybody would use a rubber liner these days. You know, primarily, it's because the mud bed or the rubber liner was just used as the waterproofing material. So when water would get underneath the tile, it would basically saturate the mud bed. And then if there was any water, you know, which there always is, water always gets through the tile layer at some point. So you're always having a saturated mud bed, you know, the actual sloped part of your shower. And then you would have to pre-slope your rubber liner. So let me just bring this up real quick. So this is basically this is a picture I found off of online because I honestly I used to do rubber liners. I think most contractors that have been in here for 20 years, that was the way you did it. And that's the way a lot of plumbers still insist on doing things because that's just what they know. But there's a lot of problems with them. I tear these things out all the time because they're done incorrectly, or the weep holes are saturated, or there's cracked tile for different reasons. A lot of times people puncture the membranes on top of a curb, and then you have your curb swelling out and tile work kind of falling apart on the curb problems. But the biggest offending part of this is typically not having a pre-slope underneath the rubber liner. So when water gets underneath the tile layer, it basically saturates the whole mud bed, and then it just kind of sits there because there's no way for the water to necessarily drain down to the main drain. That's usually the biggest problem I see, and this is done exactly like that. This is all flat, square, and level here. So water is not escaping the system efficiently. But in my mind, I don't understand why you want to do this anymore. Why would you want that mud bed to be completely saturated? It makes no sense. And then when you're doing a traditional like clamp drain system that clamps to this, they have little tiny weep holes on them that allow that water to escape the system. Whereas a Schluter system, let me just take this volume down because I don't really need the volume. But with a Schluter system, so this is a Schluter pan system. This is a mud bed that I did years ago. Let me move this over here. But this is a Schluter drain. So this is a flanged drain that basically you're going to topically waterproof the entire top of this. So when you tile, the waterproofing's on top of the mud bed. Nothing's going to get underneath into the mud bed, so you're not saturating it with water, and any water that goes under here is going straight into the drain. There's no weep hole systems. There's no little tiny holes for it to escape. And really, a lot of these Schluter drains, I mean, you're talking $100 for that drain versus the Odie. Odie, obviously, you're probably still looking at $25 for it. So it definitely costs more to do a flanged shower, but for a mud bed, I just don't see any reason why you would want your mud bed to get saturated with water. There's just really no reason these days, and really the time that it takes to pre-slope underneath a rubber liner efficiently is going to take up more time. So this is just kind of, this is just a demonstration of some footage I had a couple years ago. And really, honestly, this is a little wet. The mud was a little wet on this situation, so it's usually not that wet, but it was still within reason or within the manufacturer's specs of the Mapei. So really, if you're going to do a mud bed, and I plan on doing more of these in the future, because I really do think it makes a lot of sense in a lot of scenarios to do a mud bed, especially even like Modern was saying, he's doing a commercial shower. I would really want to do a mud bed for that, because you're going to make sure you have the durability, especially if you have somebody coming in there with wheelchairs and all types of stuff. This is going to be the most bulletproof way to go. So, and then this is just kind of showing, this is you waterproofing over top of that mortar bed. So that's the way to go too. So yeah, doing the waterproofing over top makes a lot of sense. But Dan, this is going to take more time. This is definitely a more time consuming scenario. So it's not necessary. It's going to save you some money if you do a mud bed, but the time that it takes to do it, it's going to take at least 24 hours before you can do this waterproofing. Depending on the waterproofing system you want to do maybe 2 to 3 coats. That could take the full extra day. Whereas the weedy system that I'm going to be installing in this actual shower, you can do, basically tile that day if you wanted to. It would take you a few hours in the morning to set the pan, get all the walls up, and in the afternoon you can actually set the shower pan tile all in the same day. So, as a contractor, you can speed that up and do that very, very quickly. Even the Schluter system as well. You can tile directly over that pan after you get it set. So that really makes a big difference. That's just me showing you that you want to make sure you make the gauge check of the waterproofing. So even the liquid waterproofing, I think that's the simplest way to go about going over a mud bed. It really ensures that everything's really well encased, and it's easy, but you have to make sure you have the right mill thickness. So there's some areas that you can have problems with this as well, and usually it takes you 2 coats. This was actually the KBRS shower seal that I used, pretty much kind of like the Mapei Aqua Defense, pretty much the kind of the same stuff. And then, so you basically complete that. Very easy installation after you get the mud bed done. But then the Schluter system, this is another big one. I'm always kind of, I don't know which one I want to go with, Schluter or Weedy. These are my 2 big ones I always go for. The Schluter, I would say that if you're really uncertain of where your drain location can be, go with the Schluter because it's easier to modify, and then you can always, like, say for instance you've got a 3x4 pan, which I don't even know if they make the 3x4. They might make it 3 by, I think it is 3x4. So even if your drain was wildly off, say if you had a joist somewhere that was like laying right here, and you had to move this pan over here, and you had a big gap on the edge of the shower pan, you can always fill that in with mud and then do a Schluter Curdy band over top of it. So Schluter is a lot more versatile when it comes to drain location. But if you have a center drain, and you know you can get a center drain because you have an existing shower that has a center drain, then Weedy is going to be the fastest and easiest. But Schluter is really good for those areas that are unknown because you can modify it very easily. So kind of just think of the foam pan as being just a pre-slope of that mud. It just makes it a lot easier to keep that 1/4 inch per slope down to that drain. And then you can, if you had an unequal shower, had some kind of weird angled shower in any way, you can just fill the rest in and continue that 1/4 inch per foot all the way around. But as you can see here, I'm using like a 2-inch board for their foam board for the curb. I primarily buy that because you get a 2-foot by 8-foot sheet for like $100, and you can make about 5 curbs out of it or something like that. So I like to use just the 2-inch foam for curbs like that. But Schluter is definitely an option to consider, and if you really are questioning where your drain location is, it's probably going to be the better system for you because you know you can just immediately get it done. And then what we'll be showing in this course is doing the Weedy system. So basically cutting it to fit, set it right in, and really, like I said, you put those wall panels on the side and you're ready to tile right then. So you can definitely get a lot quicker with this, and that's what this course is really going to be highlighting as well. So Terry, why Weedy and not Schluter? No, I'm not saying not Schluter. I'm just saying Weedy is probably your fastest bet. There's a lot of other benefits about it because it's waterproof all the way through. So if you accidentally drop something on it, it's not a bad problem. And then Schluter is great for that offset drain. And really, Schluter is easier to get. I mean, you can get this at like most of your box stores. So there's a lot of reasons to go with Schluter. And I'm going to get into that as I develop these videos. I'm going to go into a lot more of why you would want one over the other and the benefits and the cons against them. But I do get into that in this little tutorial here as well. But the rubber liner with mud bed, I just don't think you should do it. I would not recommend anybody going with the rubber liner. It just doesn't make any sense anymore. Buy a drain that is able to be done so that you can have a topical waterproofing on it. So pros, readily available at big box stores, no doubt. You still can get the rubber liners and the OD drains right at Home Depot, right off the shelf, definitely, no doubt about it. Now for the cons, difficult to install, many steps to do it, easy to make mistakes. So it can lead to leaks very easily. If you don't pre-slope it, if you don't make sure that those weep holes are not blocked by any thin set, things like that, you can easily have a problem. And again, you're saturating that mud bed with water. Once water gets below that tile surface, it's going to, it could smell like mildew. It could just stay wet inside of that mud bed. So I just don't think it makes any sense to allow that mud bed to even touch water in the first place. So more cons than good. Pros, if you ask me, for a rubber liner. Mud bed with a topical waterproofing. Now this is my go-to. This is what I would recommend. This is what I'm going to have some. I'm going to definitely have some of these in the future, showing the different ways about doing the mud bed with waterproofing. But there's primarily 2 different waterproofings for mud beds, and that's liquid waterproofing and then the sheet membrane. But I do have in here recommendations on mud that you can use. I really just recommend buying the stuff that's already a 4-to-1 mud mix, or that's made for mortar beds, instead of getting sand and Portland mix and possibly screwing that up. But the pros of going with a mud bed over a waterproofing I've come up with is basically they're ready. You can buy a mud bed mix at Home Depot and those pretty easily, big box stores. They're great for unlevel floors. This is another big thing. So if you're doing a basement bathroom, for instance, and you have a really unlevel floor, you could build a curb shower and offset that unlevelness within that. Very easy doing a mud bed. That's a great scenario where you'd want to do a mud bed over any of these other systems, because you don't have to pre-level the floor if you had a really uneven thing. And I think in a basement is one of those really areas it's a no-brainer to go with a mud bed on that. So being unlevel floor, consider doing a mud bed. It'll take you a little bit more time to do it. That's one of my cons. By the time you can tile, it's probably going to take you 48 hours before you can actually tile. Now you can quicken that up. You can, if you use a sheet membrane like Schluter, the next day you can pile over that. You can actually get a fast, rapid setting mud bed as well, and probably get waterproofing on that within 4 hours. So you could still get things waterproofed and done in a day. I think for the most DIYers and most people are getting into, you're still talking 2 days before you can actually start tiling the shower. But I have the links in here for the mud bed mix. So this is a 4-to-1 mud bed mix. Find a distributor for that. So I have the links in there for you, which should be helpful to you. How do I get back to my thing? What, it just kicked me out of my... Oh, we just got to click back on here. Ardex makes a great screed mortar. Laticrete's another big one. They always have floor mud. They're getting the stuff that's already ready to go and just add water is much easier. But the drains that I recommend, so Schluter drain. So this is your standard Schluter drain. If you've been in the industry at all, you know this system. So this makes it really easy to allow for the topical membrane. Laticrete, they've been around forever. They got the same flange type of system with the 4-inch drain. And then the new one that I've been coming out, and I'm really excited to do this. I think I'm doing this one this week on a repair that I'll get into. But you see a lot of guys using this Flow FX drains. So $80 with the grain rate. There's a lot of awesome things about it. I actually have it right here. Let me just blow myself up here. So, but yeah, $80. Where's the camera? $80 for the Flow effects. Yeah, forget it. It's too hard to make that work. But that's a really good price, I think, for the for a drain body and the drain cover. So because Schluter and Laticrete, I think, are still around $100 for that same thing. But I really liked the fact that it had some spacers in there for the drain cover. So I think these are going to be great. Towel Coach seems to recommend it. I've seen him. Sal has been using them. You see all these big guys using these now. So I can't wait to try them out, see why it's better, but it does seem like it makes a lot of sense. Now, as far as curbs go, when you're doing a mud bed, so my go-to would be the KBRS hard curb. KBRS is another great company to consider using their system. If you watch Winnie Designs, he probably always... he's been promoting them for years, sponsored, or I don't know, who knows. But he does a lot of great demonstrations on that. I've used a bunch of these in the past. But I love the hard curb because it has this PVC top that if you put a curb on top of this and you put a screw into it, it's kind of self-seals around it. So it's made to allow screws into the curb. I think that's really important feature. But if you use this to incorporate into your mud bed, then you're going to have a great waterproof system. And then you got all your other standard ones, Schluter curb, the Laticrete curb. But either one of those, if you penetrate it through with a screw, you're not going to be able to, it's not going to be considered waterproof. And then I have just a material list of the liquid waterproofing. Basically what you would need: 6 sheets of cement board. You've got the Laticrete. Hydraband is probably my favorite type of, I just purchased this not too long ago, but my favorite liquid waterproofing. I think that's one of the best ways to go. It's fast. It actually dries really quickly. But you can also get the kit that KBRS has. So they got the shower seal. Pretty sure that's pretty much Mapei Aqua Defense. It's basically Mapei makes a great product. I don't know if that's the case or not, but that waterproofing kit is great to use. Ardex Plus 8+9. This is another fast drying, good system, bulletproof. It just takes a little bit more mixing. It can be a little bit lumpy if you don't mix it well, and you don't have that much time to spread it. But this is a really great product as well. I highly recommend Ardex as well. And then the last one is a Red Guard. I don't like red guard. I really don't. It's just not something that I really promote, but I always have it in here because people still like to use it. The reason I don't like it is because it takes, if you really read the instructions to get the correct mill thickness to be at the waterproofing level that they want, it's probably going to take you 3 or 4 coats to get there, and it takes forever to dry. So, if you're going to use red guard over a mud bed, I don't know. It's definitely going to be a 48-hour job by the time you can actually get it tiled. But it is cheap. It's only 100, usually about $100 for the liquid waterproofing. But I would go with Hydroban if I were to just, choose. Hydroban and Arctic 8+9. Those are pretty comparable because they're fast drying and they're really, they're really solid stuff. And then the other way to go is to use Kerdi band or Schluter Kerdi, or Laticrete membranes. So using over the mud bed, using a sheet membrane, a waterproofing membrane. That's another real great way to go as well. So, yeah. So, okay, man, we're already into an hour on this. I really can't even believe it. I'm not sure if we're going to get through all of this. So that gives you the kind of an idea of the topical ways of going about this. So using a drain that will allow you to get waterproofing topically over that mud bed. And I really strongly advise you go that route versus doing any of that rubber liner system. Now, the next one would be the pre-slope shower systems, going with the Weedy, going with the Schluter. They are really, they're all pretty comparable in a lot of ways. But the biggest thing is that it eliminates areas of the slope. So if you're not feeling comfortable and you don't want to mix all that mud, having a pre-slope pan, 1/4 inch per foot that's already there for you is great. But the con is that you need a level floor. So if your floor is unlevel, if you're doing something in a basement, it's probably not going to be level. So you're going to have to address that first before you put the system down. And, they're not always accessible everywhere. I know there's a lot of areas that it's tough to get Weedy, but you can still get Schluter in a lot of ways. So there really isn't too many cons with the pre-slopes, but ADA showers, I'd probably go outside of foam. I'd probably go with the mortar bed just because I want to make sure that a wheelchair isn't going to damage the foam. I mean, now they state with Weedy and all that stuff that they can handle that kind of point load. But ultimately, if it's in a commercial setting, I probably would still go with the mortar bed type of system. So in here I have basically a bunch of links to different Schluter pans. So again, we're talking about shower pans that are 60 inches wide. So you got the 38x60 Schluter kit. Kerdi board is a great way to speed it up. As I was showing you in that video before, doing Kerdi board can speed up the process quite a bit. Obviously going to cost you more to do it that way, but I have basically some links in here. These aren't all paid links. Some of these are Amazon links that will help my channel out if you purchase from there, but a lot of them are just to the actual places. So go to your Schluter. If you're going to do a Schluter shower, definitely go to their authorized dealers. Find a location near you. I mean, they're really kind of probably one of the biggest brands that are kind of sold everywhere. So it's really great. And then the Weedy shower system. These are great. You could just get a kit. Master wholesale. Now again, look at these prices. You're definitely, a 36x60 inch shower pan system. Yeah, $1,200. So definitely get pretty costly. Getting them shipped to your house can cost a lot, but you'll be able to cut this down. 36 inches wide, you can cut this down to that 32 inch wide deal, and that's what I'm showing you in my course on is the Weedy system, because I do think it's the fastest system. But if you have a towel shop near you, the towel shop, these are nationwide as well. They are carrying Weedy and Ardex as well. And then my suggestions for the liquid waterproofing method is KBRS. So you can get this is one of the easiest systems too. Getting a shower system that you can cut down, and then it also comes with the sealant as well. So if you wanted to do cement board, this is not a bad price. Where's the price on here? $650. So you have to get the cement board on top of this. So you're going to be under $800 to do their system. That would be 36x60. Comes with the hard curb. Comes with everything that you need. Even has the drain as well. So that is definitely something to consider. Probably the same comparable price as Schluter in that system. and it's going to be pre-sloped. So there's a lot of pros to KBRS as well. Latacrete hydroband system, you can get the full system for this. This is with the hydroband, the liquid waterproofing. But you start to increase in price a lot. This gets to the more where the weedy level of system is. Um, but you have to apply the liquid waterproofing on top of this whole hydroband system. So it can get pretty costly, but there's a lot of reasons to go with that as well. So this really kind of goes through it. I used to have pricing on this, but it's kind of hard to keep up with that. So I just have basically a time analysis. This is just out of my own experience. So if you went with a mud bed with a sheet membrane, basically, how did I have this? Time to install. I have 7.5 hours. I don't think it would take you 7.5 hours to do that. I mean, this is talking about doing the waterproofing on the walls and the mud bed deal. So, I mean, you could pretty much, yeah, I guess so. I mean, by the time you're done framing, getting everything set up, doing the mud bed, putting the waterproofing on the walls and everything, yeah, yeah, I guess you really could be by. I guess I shouldn't say that. 7.5 hours probably does sound about right. And then the time to actually before tiling. Now you can shorten this down quite a bit. If you're doing with the sheet membrane, you can tile basically the following day pretty easily, or even the same day if you use a fast setting mortar. Mud bed with a liquid waterproofing. Now that most of the time I would just, if I were planning to do that, I would say I'm not going to start tiling until the third day. So it's going to take 48 hours before I can actually get this set up and ready to tile. But you can shorten that as well. If you're just doing a shower, you could shorten that up. But I would expect or just plan 48 hours before you actually get the actual tile. And this is where the difference is that I feel with the Schluter pre-slopes or the Wheaties pre-slopes. You're talking within 6 hours, the whole system's ready to go. If you wanted to tile that day and do the shower pan floor, you can go ahead and do that. So you can really be tiling in the first day with the waterproofing on with these pre-slopes. Now that's, this is all dependent on what it takes to move the drain and do all these things. So keep that with a grain of salt, but I usually account for 1 day to install the waterproofing and then I'm tiling the next day. And a lot of times, if I'm just doing a shower, I am setting that tile for the base, for the shower floor that first day as well. So that speeds things up quite a bit. The KBRS towel basin. Now, I didn't even talk about that because this is something you have to order ahead of time. Let me see where I have towel basin. So 32 towel basin. So this is like basically installing an acrylic base in your bath and shower. It's already waterproof, already has the curb integrated, it has flanges around it, it's all sealed. So you basically just slap this in place, put your wallboard down, it overhangs it, and then you're ready to tile. So you could definitely tile this the same day if you have everything set up correctly. Now, the only issue with this is that you have to order this ahead of time. And the other thing that you have to keep in mind is that the towel basin has these flanges around the side. So that requires you to shim out the walls a 1/4 inch to allow the board to overhang the towel basin. So if you're in an alcove of some sort, if you're in an alcove like this, you're going to have to shim out this wall and you're going to have to shim out this wall for those wall boards to go over. Now, if you have a bump out like this, that's not a problem at all. But on this wall, if you're trying to meet up with existing wallboard like drywall, you're going to have to remove all that drywall and shim the whole wall out so that everything's nice and even. Now, the way I always recommend to do bathrooms, it shouldn't be a problem because you can just easily put 1/4 inch strips on every stud all the way down this wall and bring that board over top of it. But just keep in mind, if you're trying to just do a shower, you're just doing the shower itself and you're trying to meet up with existing drywall, the KBRS towel basin is going to be tough for you because it's required to have the board overhang these flanges and it takes a 1/4 inch space to do that. So just keep that in mind if you do it. But KBRS pans are really awesome, really easy. I mean, I think you can do that whole system in 4 hours after you have the drain moved and you can start tiling. So you could definitely be having an easy day doing that with the towel basin. You have to plan ahead. You have to order this ahead of time to get it. And then if you want to cheapen it up, you can do, instead of doing with Go Board is a type of waterproof board, foam board that really speeds it up. But going with the cement, it's going to take you a little bit more time because you got to seal all the cement board as well. Weedy, I usually plan for about a 5-hour day to install that. Now this 3x4 shower that I installed really only took about 4 hours, so it depends on the size of shower. But you're really getting into that same time reference as the KBRS system, where you can, do this, be ready to tile in 5 hours, and then, or be ready to tile in 6 hours, I should say. It takes about 5 hours to install everything. The sealant has to dry, and then you can go ahead, and it only takes an hour before you can tile over that sealant, so no problem. Latacrete doesn't take a lot of time to install, but you're going to have to do the liquid waterproofing that can take some extra time. So I would not do a Latacrete shower and thinking that you can tile the same day. You're probably going to have to wait to the following day. Already an hour and 15 minutes, unbelievable. So let me see if I have any comments here. I hate to ignore everybody. Thanks for hearing that. Give me a thumbs up on this. I hope this is informative to you. Let me take a drink of water here for a second. Oh, awesome. Cars and collectibles, you're using the KBRS system. Again, yeah, I am happy with them. They've always been great. And yeah, you can easily run out of sealant for that, so be careful with that. Rich, you said you had a grout failure, turned black on a new shower floor. I used a KBRS shower pan and Mapei Ultra Color FA grout. Any ideas of the issue? I am going to have to towel over it. Well, so it turned black. I really don't know why that would be. I'm sorry to hear that, man. That really stinks. I mean, Mapei FA is pretty damn good stuff. So, you're saying it turned black. That's a really great question. I don't really know why. Keep me posted on that one, man. If you can send me an email, I'd love to hear what's going on there. The only thing I would have to say about the KBRS system that does concern me a little bit, and always has, is, so even the shower soap. Let's go to the one that's going to be the simplest, the actual pan. Oh, that's that's Latacrete KBRS. Towel basin. All right, towel basin. The shade's the left drain. The one thing that I never really cared for is that it is a clamp system. Okay, so this has a drain, that a regular OD drain that clamps on it, just like the rubber liner deal. But when you clamp that on there, it's a recessed, and you have to fill in that area with either thin set or a mud bed pack to make it even with your drain, because the way the clamp system works on it. I wish I would have had something pulled up on it. Maybe we'll do something on that. I'm actually repairing one this week, and I'll have some video on that. But basically there's a recess around that drain. So if water gets underneath the tile, which it will, most likely always does, water can be sitting there around that drain, and it might potentially not be, because the weep holes are typically usually clogged by the sealant application that you're actually clamping the drain down on. So typically the weep holes are already clogged with the sealant. So, so there is that area that can be saturated with water. Well, I guess my question I'd love to hear is it just around the drain area that's turning black, or is it elsewhere? If it's elsewhere, then I don't really understand. If it's just around the drain, I could possibly see where water is just kind of sitting there pooling and not having a way to drain into the weedy drain or into the OD drain and draining. So anyways, I wanted to answer some of the people's questions. That's really why we're here as well, is to communicate on this type of thing. But that is one problem that I felt compared to like the weedy system, where the pan, basically everything underneath the tile is going to go straight into the drain. There's nothing to clog. It's just going to go straight into the drain. Whereas the KBRS system has the clamp system, and there is a recess around that drain, so water could build up around that and could possibly potentially have problems. I haven't really seen that yet, but it is something that is, I think, a little bit of a design error in a sense. And the main reason that they're doing that is because they're trying to associate with using a clamp style drain. That's the most popular drain out there, the OD drain. Okay, so then I just have some other things that aren't relevant to the actual walk-in shower. So we'll probably skip through this and not get too far into it. But waterproofing for the main floor area, Schluter Dieter I think is number one. But if you were to do penny tile or something like that, I do recommend doing cement board and doing hydroban or some kind of liquid waterproofing over top of it, because Schluter Dieter doesn't really recommend any tile under 1 inch wide, so or 2x2s actually technically. So if you're doing penny tile, if you're doing like 1 inch by 1 inch tile, it's not really good to go over Dietra. You would want to do cement board and then a liquid waterproofing. And I have all the helpful tools in there as well. Again, in the link description below, you can get this guide and we'll step you through it. But then I have a whole system thing here on shower faucets. We'll probably leave this for another day because I'm just going on and on this guide. And I wanted to just give you a little bit about that first part of this course. But shower faucets, I really highlight a bunch of information in there, helpful links as well. You'll find this in my course as well, in addition to this, but all the different tools that is required here. And thin set, get into a lot of thin set recommendations. Well, again, we'll probably make an additional episode on this when we get into the tiling project of the course. Again, all in the course as well. But I really kind of highlight a bunch of things. And then tile setting, procedures, what you should be looking for, and the trowel sizes and different ways of going about this. So a lot of packed information, spacers and leveling clip systems. If you're doing with something with larger tile, definitely get this TCA handbook. If you're a contractor, make sure you're trying to go by those recommendations. I have a lot of the tool recommendations I use. And again, if you find any of this useful, even, go into that guide. Please leave me a review on Google. Really helps me out, because really it's all about searchability. And, it's tremendous to see the uptick that I'm getting here. But really, and then I get into grouting, and I'm going to have a lot of pros and cons with that. I don't want to get into all that because I can talk for another hour about grouts, but I can go into pros and cons of each. And just this is all based on my experience over the last, I've been doing exclusively bathrooms for 14 years, but I definitely been in the contracting for 22 years now, and bathrooms were always a part of it. I just didn't, I just started specializing in it 14 years ago. So I have a lot of advice on the grouts, and things keep getting better. So, it's hard to keep up with everything that's coming out. And, one of my favorite ones right now is this Spectralock 1. It only came out a couple years ago, and it's been a great grout. I've seen a lot of contractors using it that love it. And then, I have my links down here for the courses as well. And then you always go to my website for things. So let's go back to, let me see if there are any other questions here. Maybe somebody want to hear. All right, so let me go back to my course. I have all these windows open here. And I'll just X out of that. Nope. Nope. Sorry, guys. I don't know what I did with my window. Well, we're going to have to go into my course here. Let me just bring this out because I don't want you guys... Right here. But yeah, thanks for being on this live chat. Really helps out. The more that can be on YouTube, the more watch hours, the better everything goes. So, okay, so getting into my course, we'll go into the first section of it because it's not going to be that tremendously long here. I just had a couple videos on demo. All right, let's go to here, demo. Now, like I said, I have this outlined, and you can see on the left-hand side here, it just kind of goes through the step-by-step of going about here. But let's watch a video on the demo because I'd like to get this on my YouTube channel under the basically the walk-in shower. It's basically a master walk-in shower course. So let me shrink myself down here so you can see this. And then, do I have the volume? Okay, so this is always a question mark. What is behind this bump out? Now, I did put a little access panel in here, so I did take a peek, and there's just a vent stack in here. But the real question is how much can I expand this shower? So we'll be able to uncover this, remove it, and see what we can do to expand it. Because this 30-inch shower, I mean, you can barely lean over in this. So this is not acceptable in my mind. We need to get a bigger shower in here. Okay, so first thing, you want to make sure the water's off in the whole entire bathroom. And let's just get rid of some of this faucet material here. Okay, so two-handled faucet, definitely not acceptable anymore. Most building standards require you to have an anti-scald mechanism, and just turning on the hot water would obviously scald you in this shower. So let's just get rid of these handles before we demo things. Probably gonna take a little bit of should start out, hopefully. Yeah, they just, at least that's not all corroded. Okay, so in a scenario where I was leaving this drywall, I would make a nice level mark and cut this all out. But since I'm removing all of this drywall, I'm not too overly concerned about it, but I just want to still cut out the tile. Now, I'm willing to bet that this is just straight over drywall. They used to do that in the 80s, and it's pretty bad practice, but yeah, it's most likely going to come out very easily, but you don't know until you start. So let's get a respirator on, cut our line off of here. You see I had that cement board on there. So they did put a little bit of cement board on it. Okay, so same thing here. If I were leaving the ceiling, if I wanted to leave the ceiling, which I'm not, but I would score this so it cuts cleanly and you don't rip off paper tape off against the ceiling. But in this instance, I'm taking out the ceiling as well, so it won't really matter. Okay, so we're going to cut out some of this piping before we take the wall out. So I'm just using my auto cut tool here. So this wall is just a interior wall, so we're just going to cut this out. Okay, so that shows the demo of that process there. So yeah, I mean, as you can tell, it's really not that difficult. I mean, it was about 100 degrees that time of year when I was doing this. This was during the summer, July. But yeah, I mean, you know, when you get into this, you're really not going to know exactly what you're getting into until you demo everything out. But you know, within this course, you know, I just have a lot of the helpful links, planning ahead. Make sure you get those drop claws. Zip walls are awesome for you know, trying to isolate parts of the house so that dust doesn't get into it. So these are just basically, and here I'll just click on it here. Basically just a system that allows you to put the sheet membrane up against the ceiling. So that's really, really nice. Just some reminders. So all of this is just to kind of allow you to, I mean, I don't want to see you have to go on YouTube and try to go through a commercial and then find all this stuff, or get distracted on all this stuff. So that's why I think the course is really helpful. But I have basically just images that kind of remind you of the steps of what to get, what to have. Make sure you shut off that water. I know that's kind of obvious stuff, but making sure that you have your shark bite caps, having all the different components that you would need for that. And then one suggestion I make is, if you have a pickup truck, most of the time you can just get most of all of that debris in there and take to a transfer station. So I have a link in here to a transfer station. This is basically waste management. You can take it there and you can offload it, into a landfill essentially. So, I think that, rather than getting a dumpster and spending $300-400 for that, you can usually get rid of this stuff for about $75, 100, maybe $100 these days. I don't know. But I'm just trying to emphasize that, in a 4x8 bathroom or a 5x8 bathroom, it's not going to take much more than a pickup truck to get rid of it. I have a lot of suggestions about using a saw, just different strategies or different tools that I use in this as well. And then you can always go to my demo day part of my Amazon store, and I have basically things highlighted for each part of the project. But you can browse through here, kind of get an idea of what kind of tools I'm using in this instance. But yeah, so that's the demo. That's a pretty straightforward deal there. Let's just get into, well, it's already 8:30 now. We'll get into the fiberglass pan removal. So we'll just basically getting through the demo process of the shower, and in part 2 we'll actually start getting into the plumbing and whatnot. But as you can tell, like I was saying, everything in here, I'm kind of highlighting some important information to go about doing things. So let's go real quick, show you what this subfloor looked like, what looked like underneath, and how to go about that. Okay, so the drains, sometimes they're just pushed in with a fitting, so you might not be able to pull out the rubber gasket that goes around it. But yeah, actually you can on this one. So you can just pull this rubber gasket out of here. Okay, so that would allow you to take it out. If you can't do that, the next best option is just to take your circular saw and plunge cut. So you can protect that pipe and then just pull it up. And I have to say that's a first. Putting shingles underneath a shower pan, can't say I've ever seen that before. I'm not sure exactly what purpose that would give, but it certainly isn't doing a whole lot. Keep your respirator on. Okay, so let's go uncover our plumbing, see what we got here. I don't know why there's a piece of 1x here. Exactly. Alright, so when you use a Sawzall in an area like this, try not to let the whole blade go into the floor, because I don't think there's any electrical here, but you just want to be careful. All my plumbing, as you can see, is above, so I'm not too concerned about that. I'm just concerned about some wires. So when you use this, just try to be shallow with your cuts. All these wires in here, so I'm gonna get my oscillating tool to be a little bit more precise. Where is that? Oh, that's behind the furnace. Okay, so I'm going to use this little oscillating tool. This is made by Fine, but this will be a lot more precise than that Sawzall, because I have all these wires here I want to be careful of. So I'm just going to cut it with this. enough slack to move all these wires back into a wall cavity here. That's good. Okay, so yeah, that's yeah, definitely using that oscillating tool in areas like that is really helpful. But yeah, again, you'll really discover things that you might not know. But this is basically just another video I have of removing the shower drain and trying to remove that. So depending on issues I have here, I might be pulling this off of the channel, but I'm not going to play it here right now because I don't want to have to do any additional editing. But it's only 1 minute, just showing 2 different scenarios of the shower drain. So, and then again, you know, I'm basically kind of highlighting the ways to go about this. Plunge cutting, I think, is really the safest bet, the easiest bet. Now, you're going to probably ruin a blade doing that potentially, especially if they set it in mortar, but you'll find most fiberglass pans, they don't have anything underneath of them, so it's usually not bad. But it could cost you a $10 blade by doing it this way. So, you know, figure out the way you want to do it. But then, you know, an inside pipe cutter is another avenue. But, you know, a lot of times these older showers are going to be copper, sometimes galvanized, and then some, you know, if it's really old, it's going to be cast iron potentially. But you can always do an inside pipe cutter as well. And then, again, using that oscillating tool really helps out in tight spaces. So that is just basically highlights what is for just a demo portion of this. Very straightforward, simple, nothing to, you know, I really try to keep things short too. I don't really think there's any reason to belabor a lot of additional things if I don't need to. So a lot of my videos are straight to the point, but we'll get into the plumbing move on the next one, because that's a 12-minute video that I have just on that on my next part 2 episode. Let me know in the comments whether like a Tuesday evening or a Wednesday evening works better for you, because I want to be here for you guys. And then obviously if you have any additional questions, you know, or you think about it in the meantime, leave a comment down below for that. I'd be more than happy to try to help you out. If you buy the course, you know, I'm definitely going to be available to you. I'm really trying to get this to be working. Yeah, I mean, I'm really definitely trying to, you know, get this out there, you know, because I think it's going to be helpful to a lot of DIYers. As you know, it's getting harder to find contractors, hard to get people to do things, and materials are going up. So, yeah, Rich, I am. Yeah, no, I really, I'm, you know, hey, I had a great experience with home repair tutor, with bathroom repair tutor until last year, and I've learned an incredible amount in a lot of ways. I'm just going to be thankful at this moment and try to, I mean, hopefully we can work something out here. But yeah, no, there's, you know, there's definitely some issues there, but I'm trying to not be angry about it and just be appreciative of what I have. I mean, if it wasn't for us doing that on those other platforms, I wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't be doing this stuff, I don't think. I mean, I'd probably be still doing bathrooms, but I really, you know, being in front of the camera, doing all this type of stuff, I've just learned an incredible amount over the 7 years. So I'm very thankful for being a part of that. Just unfortunate that, you know, things are the way that they are. So anyways, thanks so much. Again, give me a like if you can on this. Leave a comment with any of your questions. And let me know whether Tuesday or Wednesday evening is better for you if you're really serious about learning. Doing this, because I love to do that. And you can always find these on my YouTube channel. So I'll show you that on the next one. I'm going to make a playlist of all of it, because I feel whether you buy my course or not, I want to just share this information with you. So, all right. Thanks so much, guys. Have a good night. Thank you.